Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Istanbul, the Big Box edition. Let's check it out. A little bit of setup at the start of this game. First off, you're going to roll these die and put the governor and the thief in certain spots on the board. Wherever the numbers they roll, you put them on those tiles. The game tells you a specific way to set up the tiles. It also says you can mix and match later on. I haven't mixed and matched, but you probably want to go by the suggested setup, tile setup in the game if you're playing it for the first time at least. You're going to put these tokens that match the area on the pre-printed areas on the board on these spaces in the small and great mosque. You're going to put your little, I think of these, I think they're your nephews in the police station. You're going to put 4 wooden cubes at the tops of things at the post office. You're going to fill up gems and these little spots here equal to the number of players on the board. So this is the 2. If I was playing a 3 or 4 player game, I'd fill it out a little bit further. If this was, and then of course at the Wainwright, you're going to fill out 3 extra little shelf spaces. This is for your little wheelbarrow. You can add on to them. You'll have 3 per player. So if it's a 2-player game, you'll have 6. Of course, more for additional players. And then you'll put gems at the side of these equal to the number of players. So if I'm playing 2, you'd put 2, 2, and 2. Now, I should mention with these though, you can only get 1 of these, each player can. So as you're going through here, you're going to eliminate them from the game depending on how many. This is for a 4-player game, 3, 2, you do that, of course. But anyway, other than that though, you're going to shuffle your small market and large market cards and put them in their areas. Shuffle this deck in the whatever that name is and put them here. And then you are ready to go. Now, you will start in the fountain, I should say. Both players start in the fountain. And then on your turn, what you're going to do, you're going to start with 2 coins. You're going to start with an extra disc over to the side. And all of your white cubes are at 0 here. And the first player token is this. So then you're ready to go. And all you're doing is moving 1 or 2 spaces orthogonally. You cannot move diagonally. And then you're taking that action. So for instance, I could go 1, 2 and take the action here by just removing one of my discs there. Or if I just wanted to go 1 space, I could go here and go like that. And you're going to get the reward on that tile. Now, I'll go through what each one of these tiles do in a minute, but I want to say this. Let's say on the next move, I moved, and let's say green was over here. I moved over here to green. And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to take this action. Well, before I take an action with someone else there, I must pay them 2 lira, 2 coin. And if there's multiple players, I'd have to pay each player 2. If I didn't have that money and I wanted to use this one but couldn't do it, then I just have to end my turn, unless I want to move somewhere else and take that action. But let's say I paid him 2 and then I could take the action. Next time, if I wanted to come back over here, then instead of dropping one off, I could pick one up. Now, anytime if you want to move 2 spaces and maybe I'm trying to get to there, if you didn't want to take the action, you just don't take the action and you end your turn. You don't have to take an action. And of course, if there's only you left, like let's say I'm scattered out all over the place here and I tried to go up here, I couldn't take the action because I got to leave one of my workers there and I don't have any actions. So eventually I'd have to go back to our previous one to pick up a worker and take that action, or make it to the fountain. If you make it to the fountain, you gather up all of your discs where they are on the board and you can start over again. But that's what the fountain does. Oh, and by the way, the fountain is the only place where you don't have to pay people money when you're there. So if green player moved on here trying to gather up back his and I was already there, he wouldn't have to pay me 2 lira because this is kind of a safety zone for all the merchants there. 2 other things I want to keep in mind though, when you go see the governor will give you one of these blue cards. These blue cards are like little special things. They're self-explanatory and the rule book will tell you what each one means. For example, I can get 1 of any type resource I want and add it to my card by pushing up that block there. You can only hold on to 1 of these at a time. If you get another one, you must discard one of them back. You can keep one or you can keep it for 2. I could keep the other one for $2 if I wanted to. But either way, I got to make a decision. So if I already had one, if he gave me one, I could pay $2 and keep it, or just discard it, or discard another one in my hand. And you can play these little cards at any time. After that, you would roll the die and move him to another area. So I rolled a 4, so he would go into the 4 area, which would be over here. Same thing if you land on the thief. When you land on the thief, wherever he is, he will give you the good of your choice. You can either trade it, so if I had a red good and I wanted a blue good, I could trade it out and get a blue good. Or if he just wanted to give me a blue good, I would just pay him 2 coin. And then again, just like the governor, I'd roll the die, and wherever he'd go, I would move him to that area and that space there. And you can take both actions. So next time someone comes to the fountain, they can take the action of gathering all their men and taking the thief's action, whatever order they want to do that in. Another thing you can do, and I'll tell you this right here, is go to the police station. Police station sends out your little nephew anywhere on the board. He can go anywhere you want, and he takes that action for free, meaning that even if green player was here, if I put him here, he doesn't have to pay him 2 coin and he gets to take the action. Now, later on, if I land on him again, I can move him somewhere else. Or, most likely what's going to happen, if a player comes over here and takes this action, they can also arrest him, turn him into the cops, put him back in the police station, and collect 3 coin. So your nephews will always be in trouble coming back to the police station at any time. All right, so other things you can do in the game. The small market and the large market. What you can do is you can get rid of as many of those goods as you see there, and depending on how many of these goods you can give, if you can get all 5, you'll get 20 coins. Here, if you get all 5, it's 25 coins because there's a little bit more rare items here. But either way, this is how you can get money. If I can only fulfill 3 of these contracts, I can get 9 coins. Then I take this at the bottom, I put it to the bottom, tip the next stack up. That's how both those markets work. Both the great and small marks work, depending on the first player there must have 2 of a certain item, whether it's blue, yellow, green, or red. And once they prove they have 2, they get rid of 1 of those goods. That's what that arrow means. And then they have special abilities. What do each of these special abilities do? Well, this one says, hey, when rolling dice, and I'll say why this is important later, you can either re-roll your die or set one of them to a 4. This little green action, when you get this, says, hey, whenever at the box with this emblem, the crate emblem that you see in some of the spaces there, you may also, in addition to whatever action you're taking, to pay 2 coin to gain any resource. What yellow does is say, hey, once you pay this, for 2 coin, you can take one of your assistants anywhere on the board and put them underneath your stack. You don't have to go to the fountain to get them all back. You can pay money to get them back and keep on your merry way. And this one just unlocks your 5th disc that you've been sitting over to the side, and you can add it to your merchant once you have this. Now, the first person to do this gets it easier because the second, third, fourth person, they have to show that they have more goods. They're still just paying 1, but as you see, it gets harder each time. The special ability is the same, and you can only get each one of these once. Now, whenever you get one of these, obtain one of these, you're also going to get a gem. Ooh, this is the whole point of the game, is you're trying to get, in a 2-player game, you're trying to get 6 gems, but any other player count, you're trying to get 5 gems to win the game. And those are 2 ways you can get gems. Another way to get gems is upgrading your cart. By paying $7, you can put an upgrade in your cart. So now you can hold even more of a certain type of good, and you certainly want to do this. But once you buy your last upgrade and you've upgraded your wagon completely, that's another way you can get a gem in the game. Other ways you can get a gem in the game is going by the gemstone dealer or the Sultan's Palace, and you're either giving up these type goods and taking this one, and of course it's easier as you take the first one because the next person has to get that good too. And when someone does that one, then they have to get all these goods. Then it gets harder and harder to get these gems, but you have to have more and more resources to get those gems at the Sultan Palace. Here it's spending coin. At first you spend, in a 2-player game, 15. Then they take this one. The next player has to spend 16 and get that one, and so on and so forth. So those are other ways you can get gems in the game. This place, to get these cards here, what do? Well, right here in the base version of the game, you're going to grab 2 of them and keep 1. All right, so, and of course they can do multiple actions in the game. The expansion, you need to watch out if you're getting the big box. The expansion just puts them all together, but usually you're going to want to play with all the expansions. But anyway, yeah, you may want to weed out some of the ones that are from the 2 expansions in this. Other ones, you have these that say max, and they're for all 3 of the resources, yellow, green, and red. They all say max, and that just means however much your cart can hold, you just ship it right up to the max. So if I was to go there, put one there, I go up all the max. And there's ones for green and ones for yellow as well. Now, how to get gems? Well, that's a little harder. Over here is one way. In the black market, you get 1 of any resource you want of these 3. Then you roll the die. And depending on the number, you'll get 1, 2, or 3 rings. Sometimes 0 if it's a 6 or below. But again, that's why this little option comes in handy, because you can change one of them to a 4 and hopefully mitigate your luck in getting those rings. The jewelry is the hardest thing to get in the game. Other things you can do is go to the post office. The first time someone goes here, they'll get the bottom rewards. Then they'll shift this one down. The next person goes there, gets that reward in these. And as it keeps going, it keeps upgrading. And then the last person to land here gets all the upgraded goods, and everything goes back to normal again. So it's basically depending on when you hit that, depends on what type of items you get, but you'll get them all. And the last one I haven't talked about is the little tea house. We're going to go gambling. Again, a dice rolling thing. You're rolling the dice and you're saying, hey, calling a number between 3 and 12. If you get equal to or greater than that number, that is the money you will get. So if I said, hey, I think I can roll a 7. So here we go. I rolled a 9, so I got 7 coins. If I'd have said 9, I'd have got 9 coins. But if I'd have said 10 and I rolled 9, then I would only get 2 coins. And if you roll underneath your number, it's always 2 coins, which is why 3 is the minimum you can bet there. So again, that's another reason why mitigating your die may come in handy, or you may just want to do a re-roll completely there. So those are the actions you're taking. You're going to keep going around, gathering money, gathering gems, and of course building up resources here to gather up enough gems to win the game. Now the first expansion for this is a coffee expansion. It's called the Mocha and Bangladesh expansion, I think. But it comes now with a coffee trader. Ha-ha! And so when you land on him, just like all the other ones, he's going to be able to sell you some coffee. He can give you some coffee for $2, or you can trade a resource for this, and these are the little coffee tokens for this. And of course, when you meet the coffee trader, you roll the die and move him somewhere else. There is also more cards involving coffee, more bonus cards involving coffee, and there's more places to go. Now, again, the rule book will tell you kind of where you want to suggested setup for this. But anyway, just to tell you what these do. The roasting plant here, you have an option. You can pay 2 coins to get 2 coffee. You can pay any resource to get 2 coffee, or you can discard one of these cards. There's some new coffee cards too, or a bonus card. And I think these are called guild cards or whatever, but guild or coffee cards. You can discard one of them and also gain 2 coffee. Well, the next one is the guild house, and this is where it gives you these little coffee cards now. And what you're going to do is you're going to gain 1 coffee, 2 of these, and then discard one over into the discard pile, either one of these or one of those, and you're just basically going to take the action written in English right there, whatever it is. And there's some really good stuff that you can get at the guild hall. The next one is the tavern. I love this one. Again, 3 different options you can do. You can pay 2 coffee to get this little bar right here. And what this does is you can put it anywhere you want, and it'll block a pathway. So now no one, if I'm the white player, I also get this token because I went there, and now only I can cross through that barrier. So I can go here and take this action. For green, if they want to take this action, they've got to go around the barrier. They cannot pass the barrier. Only I can, because I have this token. So you set it up in a nice convenient place, and I could also set it up this way if I wanted, vertically as well. Wherever you wanted to kind of block other players off of, that only you can go. Now, for someone to gain that access from you, they'd have to go here, pay 2 coffee, grab this, and then either keep it there or put it somewhere else. Another thing you can do is you can pay coffee for resources. This is basically 2 extra upgrades that you can get in the game here. At first you have to pay 1 coffee, then 2, then 3, then 4, and there's only 2 abilities here, but you can get them both. This one lets you move, instead of 1 to 2 spaces, you can move as far as you want, horizontally or diagonally. As you know, the board is getting bigger now, so for instance, now if I had that unlimited movement, I can move all the way down here and take the action, or all the way down here and take an action, if I wanted to. That's only if I had this power. This power lets me take any of these actions without paying. So for that extra coffee or extra good or extra card, I don't have to pay the $2 anymore to keep it. I can keep it for free. So both of these are really good and really awesome things. And the third thing you can do here is pay 4 coffee, and then depending on how this tile is, it starts here by paying 3 fruit, and then here by paying 1 of each of the extra, a little bit better goods. And then once you've done that, you gain a ruby. And then it keeps flipping every time. So sometimes it's easy to use, sometimes it's a little bit harder. But each time someone uses it, they can get a ruby that way. Then finally, this one, of course, you lay out rubies across the board, starting with here, and anyone pays 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 coffee, they can get more rubies. Just a more easier way to get more rubies on the board. And that is the coffee or Mocha in Bangladesh expansion. Now, the letters and seals expansion is a little bit better here, because now we're giving you even more. You're going to get some letters, of course. You're going to get a letter carrier and a little assistant here. Another assistant is just a gray pawn. Not gray, a square pawn here. And what happens is the first time you take the rest action at the fountain, you gain him. He appears magically before you. And instead of moving your own merchant, you can move him 1 space to take an action. So he's kind of like a permanent assistant. And it just helps you move around the board better. So if your merchant's way over here and your other guy's here, maybe he can move 1 and take an action wherever he's at. So that's a little nice. It comes with more expansion tiles, and of course a suggested path to how you should set them up. But let me just tell you what each one does. This one, obviously it's easy. If you go here, you get 2 letters. These are the letters like this, and you'll just flip them over, and those are the areas that you need to go to deliver those areas. And by the way, if your nephew is there, or your assistant is there, or you're there, you can already consider it delivered and flip it over. Now, why is that important? Because if you have 3 seals, you can cash the 3 seals in and get an additional turn, which is huge. But there are other ways to use these in the game. So for instance, over here at the kiosk, you'll get another letter, flip it over, see where it goes to see if you can deliver it. And then you get to take a stack of these little cards. There'll be plenty of these little tokens here, but you'll take as many as there are players in the game plus 1. So let's say in a 4-player game or 3-player game that I picked these 4 here, okay? Now, out of these 4, I have to pick one of them, okay? And let's say I pick this one. This is the one I want. Well, then the next player picks this one, 3rd player picks that one, and now it's my turn back to me. I get this one. So you always get one more. Whoever triggered this action not only gets a letter, but also gets 2 bonus tokens, while everyone else gets 1. The next one is the auction hall. You can get any resource of your choice, and then you start a bid where you start and then you also end. So after your second bid, no one else can outbid you. Or maybe you just give it up and give it to the highest bidder, and you get their money, whatever they bid. And they get 2 of these little bonus cards that they can possibly use in the game. Over here, this gives you, if you cash in 6 of your seals, you will get a gem. And the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd player to do that will also get cash. You'll put the coin here. After the 3rd player goes, all you have to do is pay seals to get a gem. Just another way to get a gem at the Secret Society. And then the coolest one, the Catacombs, you can pay any resource and move any one of your people to anywhere on the board. Because you're moving through the catacombs. And because the board is so big, it's just a way to get across faster there. And those are the expansions. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Okay, very embarrassing here. Years ago, I went to Gen Con. I thought I played this game, and I hated it. I hated it. And so whenever I see it pop up, because whenever Board Game Geek is, hey, you may also like this, I was like, no, I played it at Gen Con. I hate it. Well, I can't remember what happened. I was looking at trades or something. I saw the big box. I was like, let me look at this again. I remember I hated the game, but maybe my tastes have changed. Like, I hated Power Grid when I first played it. Well, I still hate it now. But Catan I thought was okay, and then went back and loved it. So I said, well, let me look back at some of these games. Looking at this game, I realized I did not play this game at Gen Con. I got this game mixed up with 5 Tribes. You're like, Matt, how did you get this game mixed up with 5 Tribes? Dude, I was new to the board game industry, so I didn't know. I just totally forgot the name of the game I played. I hated 5 Tribes. Still don't like it, I don't think. But I thought 5 Tribes was Istanbul, and I got those mixed up. So whenever I saw Istanbul, I thought, oh, that's that game I didn't like. No, this is a very different game. In fact, I love this game. Forget top 100, top 50, maybe top 25. Maybe even, I mean, honestly, this is one, I'm looking at my list right now of games I've got this year. I got a big old bookshelf of games that I bought just this year. Well, no, there's probably one that maybe beats this. Okay, maybe one that beats this. But still, unbelievable game. Unbelievable game. We played once with the base edition, which was fine. Then we played with both expansions. Oh, that's what you do every time. From now on, I'll play with all the expansions. It doesn't make the game too meticulous. It actually flows really well. There's lots of strategy. It is an easy game to pick up and very easy. Even with all the expansions here, it is not hard to follow. There is so much strategy in here, so many ways to get gems. It is incredible, and I love it. Getting those upgrades to get gems, getting cart rights to get gems, and spending money or resources or coffee now or letters to get gems. A billion ways to get gems. Boy, oh boy, is this a fantastic game. You should get the big box too. It is excellent. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Game on!